I think this new Crow movie looks badass. I really do. The trailer really hyped me up. I like the music. I like the cinematography. I loved. So I saw the new Crow movie.
Dan it, Dude who loves movies. Dan it, Dude who loves movies.
What's up, dudes and dudettes? My name's Cody, and I'm just a dude who loves movies. And today I want to talk to you guys about The Crow, not 1994. I'm sorry, 2024. All right, well, with that being said, I'm glad that I flubbed that line because I am a huge fan of The Crow 1994. It's one of my favorite movies of all times. It's in my top 5 favorite movies. And it's really hard to not compare it to the 2024 version. I know, even when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I would do this, But to be fair to this movie, they were trying something totally different, and I have to hand it off to them. So we are going to try and not talk or compare it to the 1994 version while I do this review. It is a hot topic right now because there are a lot of people just not liking this movie or people hating or bashing this movie. And hey, there's a lot of people who haven't even seen the movie that are bashing it. There are people who will not even watch the trailer because they're such diehard fans of the original. And there are probably people out there who are saying, hey dude, you're a huge fan of the original one. You must be a fraud because you liked the new one. Yes, I liked The Crow 2024. Let's get into it. Soulmates Eric Draven and Shelley Webster are brutally murdered when the demons of Shelley's dark past catch up with them. Given the chance to save his true love by sacrificing himself, Draven returns to seek bloody revenge against the killers and put the wrong things right. Now, I could be wrong, and I'm sure if I am, somebody's going to tell me. I don't remember them using their last names in the movie. I remember them saying Eric and Shelley a lot, but I don't actually remember them saying Eric Draven and Shelley Webster. Again, like I said, I could be wrong, but I don't remember hearing it or saying it in the movie. And I know I just got done saying that I enjoyed and liked this movie, but there was a lot of issues I had with this movie. When the trailer dropped, I was super excited. I was like, wow, this looks like a bloody revenge story. And it is, but the trailer made it look like it was going to be like a John Wick style movie. And although there are some John Wick style scenes, which I don't like them saying John Wick just because it's, action and there's people shooting doesn't mean that it's John Wick. But the trailer made it seem like it was going to be this, like all the action scenes are in the trailer. So the rest of the movie is a slower burn, which is not necessarily bad, but it does take a while for Eric to actually become the Crow. Like, he doesn't become the Crow until, I feel like an hour into the movie. They take that chunk, that section before he becomes the Crow, and makes sure that they spend time building the relationship between Shelley and Eric, which I thought was really cool. But one thing about them building that relationship, you couldn't tell how long they were in a relationship for. It kind of seemed like it was like a week, but then they would show flashbacks later on to make it seem like it may have been longer. Well, I don't really know how long they had together. We have Bill Skarsgård playing Eric / the Crow, which he did a good job. And I haven't seen everything that Bill Skarsgård's done, but everything I have seen him in, he always knocks it out of the park. He's always really good. I haven't seen him do a bad performance. And then Shelley was played by a singer by the name of FKA Twigs. Now, I don't know much about her. All I know is that she had she had some rough times with Shia LaBeouf, is what I'll say. So when I did hear that FKA Twigs was playing Shelley, I was kind of, I don't know why in my mind I was like, oh, she's not going to do a good job because she's a singer. I don't know why I thought, I was kind of let down. I was like, oh, okay, well, at least Bill Skarsgård's in it and he'll lift it up. But you know what? This isn't an Eric movie. He is not the main character. Yes, he's Eric and he's the Crow, but this is Shelley's story. And FKA Twigs actually did a really good job as Shelley. She acted good. I really bought her in the performance. My biggest gripe about this movie is the villains. I am not a fan of the supernatural element that they put for this villain. Like, this villain, he was like collecting souls. So he's like immortal. and he didn't want to be found out by what he's doing. And Shelley had this information on a phone, so he was trying to stop Shelley from releasing this because he didn't want it to like ruin him. But if he's like immortal, can he just like kill everybody and just go on with life? Or no matter what happens to him, he's still going to be around or whatnot. Or I'm sure he'd think of some way to get out of it. And none of the bad guys were fun. I like fun villains that I want to see on screen. Of course, villains I want to see get their comeuppance, but there were no fun villains in here. You don't even really get to know any of the villains. You know, they kind of show up here and there and then they die. It's all kind of like in the massacre opera scene, which that scene is worth the price of admission for this movie. If you don't like the movie at all, I'm sure you guys are going to like the opera scene. I thought that was really cool. It's really, really gory, which is awesome. A lot of cool effects. The Crow's running around with the katana. Eric becomes the Crow, but he's not really the Crow yet. Like, he's not taking it seriously. So he's back into this like netherworlds thing where he's talking to this person who's guiding him on how to be the Crow. And he's like, hey, you know, you lost your chance, so you can't do this. He's like, no, I really do love her. I'm going to take this seriously. So he's like, all right, well, then I'm going to send you back. But now you can't be with her if you do right the things wrong. So he comes back, and he comes back ripped. And I thought that was really cool. So he was like, this is what I noticed, because in the trailer, he's a big guy in the trailer. But in the movie, like the first hour, I was like, you know what? He doesn't look as big as he did in the trailer. But it's because when he comes back as like Crow 2.0, he's like big and jacked. And man, he messes things up when he decides that he wants to be the Crow. I also feel like there are a lot more women liking this movie. And I know, I know that, Bill Skarsgård is jacked and they show his butt a couple times in this movie. So a little treat for you ladies out there and some of you fellas. But I think a lot of girls are really liking this movie because of the love story. Like, love is the centerpiece of this movie. So I think a lot of girls are really enjoying that, and me. So me and a bunch of girls are liking this movie. I like it because of Bill Skarsgård's butt. Also, the music in this movie is alright. There was one part where they start playing. So one of my favorite songs is the Fugees' Ready or Not. And they're playing some kind of like version of it. And it's like building up while like the Crow is getting ready for something. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden it cuts to him like driving like a minivan or something. It's not a minivan, but it's not like, like a hot rod or a Harley Davidson or something. It's like some kind of like weird like family car that he's driving around in. So like that, like I was like, we're building up to then like, dude, he's just driving. He's like waiting in the school zone or waiting to pick up his kids at school. But those are just minor things. I was like, what the hell? Oh, you know what? I don't even think they cut to him driving. I think they show him like unlocking the door, getting in, turning on the ignition, probably putting on a seatbelt and driving. It was like one of those scenes where it's like, why are they showing a lot of him driving to this location? I know that I sound negative and there are a lot of negatives, but I did actually really enjoy this movie. It's not the greatest movie by any chance or any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely not the worst movie, and it doesn't deserve the hate that it's getting, especially from people who haven't even seen the movie. If you have any interest in seeing it, go see it. There's a lot of cool stuff in it and a lot of things that I think you can get out of it. It's a well put together movie. Some writing may not be the greatest, but that's what we get. Now, could this movie have easily been a sequel thrown into that original franchise? With each installment being a different story, or is it just a retelling of the first one? So I would say it's more of a retelling because that has really nothing to do with the Crow I know and like the lore. So I feel like it's a total reimagination. So when people say it's not my Crow, it's probably because it's nobody's Crow yet, because this is its own separate thing right now. I would like to add that I don't know anything about the graphic novel. So I don't know if this version is more in tune with the graphic novel or not. All I know is that the original movie from 1994 is very loosely based on the graphic novel. I've heard that this new movie is more like the comic book or the graphic novel. So if you guys know, let me know in the comments. Now, here's something. Just let me cook. So in 1994, there was a movie called The Mask that was being adapted from a graphic novel or a comic book. And it was about like the serial killer who put on this mask, or it was about this guy who put on a mask and became a serial killer and whatnot. It was a very dark tale. But then Jim Carrey signed on and it became something a lot further from that. But it was a hit. It was a great movie. It's a classic movie. To me, it is a masterpiece. I love The Mask from 1994. But if they were to remake The Mask nowadays and they were going to go back to the original source material, which was the graphic novel, there would be probably a lot of people who would be like, hey, that's not my mask. That's not blah, blah, blah. I don't like that, because we're so used to that original one and it's hard to separate it from that. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but I feel like it would be the same situation. When it comes to remakes, reboots, or retellings, if you make it too much like the original, people get upset. But if you make it too different from the original, people also get upset. So it's like a double-edged sword. And I know what a lot of you guys are going to say is, well, then let's focus on something that's original, something that's not an IP or something from our past. But unfortunately, these IPs get people excited and get people talking, and it gets people to spend money. Now, I know what you're also going to say, that this Crow movie has been a big flop to where it's not making a lot of money. But it may make a lot of its money back on rentals and physical media. I know that there are a lot of people who are probably going to hate this movie or not even watch the movie, but they're still going to buy that steelbook. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of buzz going on about this movie and a lot of hate that there are going to be people that want to check this out to see what that buzz is about. This movie will make money, and it also keeps the rights afloat. If you don't do anything with the rights or the material, the studio will lose those rights. So you got to keep it working in order to keep those rights. So you're going to see, unfortunately, I don't think there is going to be a sequel to this Crow movie, but I guarantee you we'll see something Crow again in the future. Now, if you were to ask me to rank this in as a sequel to the other Crow movies, I would put it dead in the middle, probably. Maybe a little towards the back, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because I actually enjoy all the sequels. Now, it's definitely not as good as the original one, and I don't think we're ever going to top that one, just because I hold that one near and dear to my heart. I do think that this one is better than Wicked Prayer and maybe Salvation, but it's definitely not something that is like a piece of garbage or trash or anything like that. So definitely go give it a watch. Now let's hear what some of the diehard 94 fans have to say.
The movie sucks so fucking bad. The movie was the biggest piece of shit. There was no character development. So how the fuck did you even like a movie where you didn't even like the fucking main characters? I give you $6 to name me two bad guys' names. Name anybody's name in the fucking movie. The movie sucks so bad. What movie were you fucking watching? Did Lionsgate pay you to like this piece of shit? This movie was so bad. Did you like the last 10-minute action scene? Was that what did it for you? Because the movie was a big piece of shit.
I know the love for the original Crow. Believe me, I'm one of them. But go into it and detach yourself from that. I know it's hard to. And you know what's crazy is that when The Crow was released on 4K a couple months ago, I remember a lot of people rewatching the 1994 one and being like, this isn't as good as I thought it was, or this isn't as good as people are saying it is. People are only saying that it's an iconic movie because of the tragedy that happened to Brandon Lee on the set. Whatever you believe, I stand firmly that The Crow 1994 is one of the greatest movies made. One of my favorite movies, like I said earlier. And don't listen to the critics. Just, if it looks interesting to you, go watch it. If I was rating this out of 5 stars, I'd give it a 2.5. It's something I will rewatch and I will buy on physical media when it comes out. The Dude approves. Thank you for listening to me talk all over the place about this movie and a little bit about The Mask and Bill Skarsgård's butt. I'd like to give a shout out to Mel from My Killer Podcast, That Horror Couple, and Tracy from Nerd Squish. They all did reviews on The Crow, and I think you should check those reviews out. They're great, credible channels, so definitely check them out. I also want to shout out Movie Miyagi for helping me out and sending me that clip. He's an awesome guy. Go check out his content over on Instagram. All those links are going to be down in the description. Roundhouse kick that like button, comment, subscribe, let me know. Did you see The Crow? Do you think it deserves the hate that it's getting? Or are you somebody who's not going to watch it and are boycotting because you're such a fan of the original? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. That's DudeLovesMovies, one word. Cheers, who's respecting. Have a great day.
It's not my crow.
Because of Bill's butt.